Ms. Preetu Mishra. Preetu is our own alumni and did her Masters in Public Health Nutrition from Department of Foods and Nutrition and has been working at UNICEF Jharkhand office. Preetu, I now invite you to take up the presentation.
Okay, so I'll quickly come to the topic. And at this time, I want to acknowledge that there is a long list of challenges and there is a long list of innovations in public health nutrition. I have just picked up few of them, and most of them are largely related to the program management, because there are the challenges in innovation do differ depending upon whether we are working on evidence generation or program management or capacity building. So mine would largely focus on the program perspective. As I said, there's a lot of challenges, both in general, the public health nutrition challenges are there. Some of the keywords I have written in the slides, which are visible, and it has already gone in to another level because of the COVID, because continuity of essential nutrition services in present scenario has become all the more challenges. One point that I want to focus is on convergence, because I see convergence as one of the biggest challenge, and I think it is one of the effective innovation as well. There are so many partners, so many departments working together for nutrition. If we see many years back, largely nutrition was being delivered through DWCD and was always and the food delivery system or through ICDS system. But if the scenario today has changed a lot, because there are multiple ministries and departments even beyond health and DWCD that has come up, like PRI, rural development, livelihood missions, tribals, even departments like procurement and others have a very, very important role. We are aware that one of the recent findings from last year is that 68% of the child's death in India is linked to poor nutrition, and still somewhere we are struggling to bring nutrition in the center stage. I won't get into the numbers and the data, but the key message is that across past all NFHS 2, 3, 4, the recent comprehensive national nutrition survey, all these surveys have told us that complementary feeding practices for children below 2 years is very, very poor. If we see just Jharkhand and compare it with India, only 1 child out of 10 child is receiving a minimum acceptable diet. So this is the biggest challenge that we face at the state level, how to really improve the complementary feeding practices in terms of frequency, in terms of diet diversity, in terms of food groups. Here I also want to acknowledge that while as nutrition fraternity we work on nutrition specific interventions, but it is important to also acknowledge that India data from past 10 to 15 years have clearly shown us that what are the major drivers of stunting or other forms of nutrition. Key drivers are low BMI of the women. Even maternal nutrition is a very important driver for nutrition, which we still feel that maybe as a nutrition program, we have not been able to really get into importance of education, which has a clear correlation with the nutrition status of the child which is being born to the female after a few years. Marriage after 18 years is something that we are aware, and Swachh Bharat mission and the experience has clearly shown that defecation, which is a very important driver, is also is something that we really need to focus. But the question is that are we really impactfully targeting all the drivers is something that we have to reflect as program managers. This is a slide that I have taken from Dr. Vinod Paul's presentation from NITI Aayog, where all the interventions, especially for children below 2 years, which includes interventions from adolescent up to 2 years, it says that so many multiple interventions and programs needs to be catered to the child and the adolescent girl and the pregnant woman to really have a good nutrition status. So all these ingredients are available. The biggest challenge is that whether we know that if we pick up an individual child, whether the child has received all the components of these so many series of programs or not. Usually we know the coverage is poor, And maybe there is a set of children who are receiving all the interventions, but there are a set of children who are not receiving anything, or there is a mix. In terms of nutrition in COVID, things have really gone very, very difficult for us, because due to lockdown, even in our households, we have seen that it has affected our diet diversity, availability of fresh fruits and vegetables. So it's very difficult what to counsel to people who are in rural areas on the availability and the accessibility. Anganwadis have been closed. It is one of the important platforms in India to deliver all the essential nutrition services, but Anganwadis are closed. At present, the guidance which is available is to provide the take-home ration at the doorstep. But what about other programs? What about other interventions, especially growth monitoring? Since growth monitoring is stopped, we really don't know what's happening to our kids. So while we have a COVID outbreak, COVID pandemic, there is a malnutrition pandemic which is still not visible and is increasing day by day. Schools have been closed, so accessibility to midday meals, iron folic acid tablets, health checkups, and those things have also been impacted. To summarize, I take this slide from the recent Global Nutrition Report, which talks about which are the basic pillars, and the report clearly told us that nutrition care, both preventive and curative, is not equitably integrated within the health system. As UNICEF, we really apply the approach of health systems, which I'll be talking in my subsequent slide, that how it helps us to understand whether a program is delivering and whether all the ingredients and components of the program is there or not. Just to briefly, I won't go into the detail of this slide, but what these challenges have led to, these so many series of challenges have led to let us know that while we have committed to the targets of Poshan Abhiyan, we have committed to a sustainable development goal, India is a signatory to World Health Assembly, but now with the pace that we are going on from NFHS 2, 3, 4 and CNSS, it doesn't seem that our indicators and our commitment will get fulfilled, and it is a serious cause of concern both among the government as well as the development partners. Our annual rate of change is still far than what we should be. If we just take a indicator of child wasting, then the present annual rate reduction is only 1.2%, while we need it at 12% to really meet the target that we have committed. So India, Jharkhand, because that's where I'm working, but even I would take the liberty to mention other states. We have a lot of programs in India. That is, ICDS is something that is unique to India, which is not there in other countries. We have NHM and then range of programs that I mentioned. But what is missing is C2IQ. I'll go into the depth of what do we mean by C2IQ. So C2IQ basically means that while we take up any innovation, any program, any intervention, it will not have a high impact nutrition until and unless we are able to maintain a very high coverage of 90 to 100%. It is also important that the program continues. It shouldn't happen that the programs get breaks. So for example, if I'll give you an example of IFA was being distributed to school students, but the continuity now has been broken because the schools have been closed down. So even if IFA supplementation is a great proven intervention, however, since the continuity was missing, we know it will not going to have the impact. Intensity is very important. What I mean by intensity is that it is important to take care that there is no left out pockets. So while we are working in rural, let's not forget the urban, because most of the data from past 20 years in India have clearly shown that urban poor is much more worsen off than even rural areas. And then there are tribal, there are areas with conflict affected, like in Jharkhand, many districts are conflict affected. So intensity is very important, and quality. Especially to students and upcoming professionals, I would really leave this message that any intervention, any program, as program manager, when we recommend it to government or we implement within our NGOs or organization, C2IQ is one concept which we must include right from the day one to ensure that we have a correct impact of the interventions. So coming to few of the innovations, and if you see public health nutrition journey in past many years, especially since last 10 years from when I am working, I've seen that there is a number of innovations that happens. There are too many individual-led innovations also happen. We miss C2IQ, and that is one of the reason many innovations die. So that is one point. Uh, one innovation that I feel is that adopting a health system approach. This has been reinforced even in the recent Global Nutrition Report and many other experiences. If you see, I won't go into the detail, but the table mentions the 8 important pillars of a health system approach. And even for nutrition program, it is very important that we focus on each of these pillars, and we focus that each of the pillars ingredients are well placed to really understand whether a program is working well. So if one of the pillar is missing, for example, if supply is not there or financing is not there, or we have a great program but we have not focused on demand generation and community engagement, we will not have a proper impact that we are foreseeing. One of the examples is a very recent program launched by Prime Minister in 2018 was Anemia Mukt Bharat. And if you see, it has all the ingredients of systems approach, where we have ensured focusing on finances. So finances come from Ministry of Health and state government. There is a concept of a partnership with academic centers. So we partnered with Institute of Economic Growth and AIMS Delhi. There is a concept of regular review. A lot of focus is on supplies, because Anemia Mukt Bharat, especially for IFA intervention, you need to have supplies, and then using the data for advocacy and ensuring that the data help us to correct the program. So one of the first approaches for innovation is adopting health system approach. Second, I know the next session will be focusing on Poshan Abhiyan, so I'm not going into the detail, but all the ingredients of Poshan Abhiyan has really brought nutrition to a center stage, especially the political and the government will, because if we see 10 years back, not many departments were really talking about nutrition, but with Poshan Abhiyan being in place and every department having some responsibility, this seems to be a good time, hopefully, for nutrition program. I won't go into the detail. Use of technology is another big innovation that has happened in past few years. In the interest of the time, I would just request people who are interested to just Google Poshan Abhiyan, and there is a lot of information available for ICDS CAS, which is the Common Application System. It has basically equipped the Anganwadi workers with a mobile phone, so that the workload of the data entry and all is reduced to as much as possible. It has not been rolled out pan India. In Jharkhand, I'm aware it is in 7 districts, and I would say 30 to 40% of the districts in most states are covered, and in coming few years it will be covered. But it helps us to know what's happening at the district level, at the block level. It also helps us to track a child by name to really know, and the system also help the Anganwadi worker to generate the due list, which household she should prioritize for home visit, what messages to be given. If she is not good enough to speak, there are a lot of videos available which at least she can click and show it to the family, the mother and the other caregivers. Nutrition financing is another advocacy tool that we have used a lot in past 1 year, especially with my experience in Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand. Nutrition financing, both in terms of what has been proposed in the PIPs, but also to track what has been approved by the government, what is not approved, and what happens after approval. So also, tracking the utilization, the gaps and all. If you see the slides, it mentions all the ingredients. But nutrition financing is a very, very important thing, because many times it happens that it is announced that so many crores is available for so nutrition program. But then what happens after the announcement, what is actually allocated, what is actually spent, that really help us to track whether we were even aiming for a good program. There had been experiences where we say that all anemia, or say for example, all age groups should be covered under anemia. But when we went to the depth, we realized that state has only proposed for say IFA tablet for 50% of the pregnant women. So if we have not even aimed for 50%, we already know there will be gaps in program implementation and it becomes a challenges. I'm sure most of you are aware of the Poshan Jan Andolan, the most important innovation right from our days when we were studying. We knew that 1 to 7 September is the nutrition week or the Poshan Saptah. But with Poshan Abhiyan coming in, this week was expanded to a whole month, which is Poshan Mah, celebrated in the September month. And this was next year followed even with a Poshan fortnight in March for 15 days. So at least we have two important campaigns every year which focus closely on the nutrition and roles and responsibility of each of the departments, as you see in the slides, are clearly mentioned. District Convergent Action Plan is one of the innovations under Poshan Abhiyan, which helps the bottom-up approach, which we all have been studying right from our college days, but it really helps us how each blocks prioritize their intervention depending upon the funds available, the priorities and other things. It is still a work in progress, but it has a lot of potential to really let the partners, the departments at all level to really know what's happening, what the geography is aiming. From Jharkhand, I would like to share one innovation, which is a completely government-funded innovation, where UNICEF provided technical support, is having an additional worker in the Anganwadi center. So while we have the Anganwadi workers in 6 high-burden districts, there is an additional worker which is called Poshan Sakhi, the nutrition friend, whose work is only to prioritize the household home visits and nutrition counseling to caregivers of children below 2 years. So she doesn't replace the Anganwadi workers, so she's not supposed to be in the Anganwadi centers, but we know Anganwadi workers are already very overloaded. So this additional worker really helps us to focus on children who are not coming to Anganwadi on a daily basis, which is children under 2. One of the innovations that we found very useful in past few months is to really go back to what's happening to the data and how data can help us for advocacy. One clear information from this slide that we could understand is that every month, every facility or every district doesn't even report. That is also one reason for low coverage. So while we focus on increasing the coverage, somewhere we also have to acknowledge that we have to also focus on the data entry, because at the end of the day, government monitors our state progress on the data. So even if how good the intervention is at the field, if the data is not being entered regularly every month from every site, from every block, then it certainly is going to show up very bad coverage in the state. So for Jharkhand, we saw that if we take an example of IFA for girls and boys taking IFA from school, in past 3 years, there was not a single month ever where all the 24 districts responded. So those kind of information also help us to advocate with government to strengthen each and every block of the program, not only the intervention. This is like at Jharkhand level, we are monitoring the supplies of different IFA red, pink, blue syrups, albendazole, and we share the status every 2 to 3 months with the government to really track on, because supplies are the basis on which anemia program is functional. This is a very new information, and would request you to Google about it. Is Impact for Nutrition. It's a cell which is convened by UNICEF, Tata Trust, Sight and Life, and many other organizations, IEP Global, World Food Program. It really brings the private partners. So what all I was speaking before was how we are working with government, filling up the gaps and working with other development partners. But it is also important that private sector is a big sector that needs to be tapped on. First, also to ensure that their employees are well nourished and eating well, something similar to what farm to fork concept was saying, and also how we can use the CSR funds available with these private bodies in nutrition programs which can actually have some impact. One of the recent innovation was also establishing various center of excellence. Meenakshi ma'am was already sharing that how even our department had been is and had been center for excellence for various key components, and it helps because uh, a helping hand from the academic body really help us to reinforce that we are correct. It gives a helping hand and to the government as well. So these are some of the centers for SAM, for diets and anemia that UNICEF has been supporting and supporting. Uh, with adaptations and innovation during COVID, I'm leaving the slide. I will only focus that a lot of things have been changed, how we have changed that. Instead of doing the field surveys, we have shifted to phone based surveys. Of course, there are a lot of things that you cannot cover in a phone based survey, but it is easy to do recurrently. One of the examples that I would share is that in Jharkhand, UNICEF is supporting NHM, that every 15 days, every fortnight, we cover all the 96 NRCs in the state. There is a standard questionnaire and we do a telephonic information. There were a lot of NRCs which were closed down when the national lockdown was announced, but with continuous support on phone, regular follow-ups from 33%, we have now reached that at least 90% of the NRCs are still open. Opening is one thing, certainly making it functional is another challenge. This is my last slide. I'm leaving with you that there is a very fantastic dashboard available, which is Nutrition India dashboard. Anybody who wants to have data from past 15 to 20 years, all NFHS 1, 2, 3, 4, CNSS data from the NSSO for all the states, districts is available at a click. There is a way to generate reports, automatic graphs, maps are available. I think for students especially, it will be a very wonderful tool for their assignments. That is all from my side. If there is any question, maybe I think after Arpita's session, we can take it together because they'll be largely. And these slides mention some of the dashboards and the information which I feel will be very useful. Over from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Preetu. It was a wonderful presentation. I know that we have a time constraint right now, but we would love to hear you again.